Hallelujah, Yahuwah. I want to say shalom, Shabbat shalom for those who keep night start, and happy prep for those who do day start. So, I have so much to say. So, first, let me give the scriptures, and then we will jump into what I have to say, which is pretty fantastic. Let me see. I have to hold on. So, okay. So, Bereshith, Genesis, chapter 49. This is Yaakov, Jacob, giving his last farewells to his 12 sons. And these are the blessings or the curses, pretty much. This is what the patriarchs did with their sons and their daughters, mostly their sons, right before they would pass on, right? And so we're going to read Bereshith 49, verse 8 to Judah. Yahusha comes from Judah. And so listen very carefully to what he said to Judah before he passed on. Yahudah, Judah, you are he whom your brethren shall praise. Your hand shall be in the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Yahudah is a lion. Yahudah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you are gone up. He stood down, he crouched as a lion and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Yahudah, nor a Torah giver from between his feet until Shiloh, that's our Messiah, come. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt unto the choicest vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. That is Yahusha. That is a prophecy that he's coming in Genesis. Actually, it goes way back. Way back. So, hold on a minute. So, hallelujah. Let's raise up a shout to Yahuwah, because he has given us what gets us through the stormiest of storms. These seas are so stormy sometimes that we lose sight of what we need to pay attention to. And so, I know I had it saved. Well, walking on the water. When you are going through your storm, Yahusha, Yeshua, Jesus, if you're new to this, he wants us to stare at him. He wants us to keep our focus on him in these storms. He wants us to rejoice in the storm as well. He doesn't want us to lose sight of the mere fact that he has got everything in control. He's already figured it out. Like when Yahushua appeared to Abraham and told him. He told him of the promise. See all these stars in the heavens, in the Shamaim. This will be as many as your sons and daughters. Now he jumped for joy when he heard this, even though he wouldn't see it. Through Isaac it started, but he didn't see it, right? He went on to be in Abraham's bosom in peace until the resurrection. And so he is telling us something there, Abraham. He rejoiced, he danced, and he believed. And it was accredited to him as righteousness. He didn't just believe, though. He had faith. And he started to pack up his things, and he started to move to where YAHUAH told him to go. Hallelujah. He literally believed with every ounce of his being that he was going to obtain this promise, even though he probably wouldn't see it into its fullness. He leaped for joy, knowing that Yahushua was coming to be impaled upon a stake. He leaped on the day that he saw Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Abraham went through quite a bit as well. And Sarah, all the patriarchs went through. They all went through. They had storms. These are what makes perseverance. And Yahushua wants all to know that he wants you to step out of that boat when it's stormy. He wants you to keep your eyes on him, grab his hands, and keep walking with him guiding the way and leading the way. Matthew 14, this is after Yahushua fed the 5,000. He sent off the apostles onto the boat to head back. And he went up all night into the mountain to pray, to make tefillah to the Father. And in the wee hours of the morning, there it is again, early at dawn, he met his apostles on a very stormy sea. And this is what happened. Immediately, he made the disciples get into this boat and go ahead of him on the other side while he dismissed the crowds. And after him dismissing the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Well into the night, he was there alone. And meanwhile, the boat was already some distance from the land, battered by the waves, because the wind was against them. Yahushua came towards them, walking on the sea, very early in the morning. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. It's a ghost, says my translation, which is CSB. It's not the greatest translation. I used to think it was the best, but it's not. They said, and they cried out in fear. Immediately, Yahushua spoke to them. Have courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Master, if it is you, Kepha answered Peter, command me to come out into the water. And Yahushua said, come. Yahushua said, come. But when he got out into that water, climbing out of the boat, Kepha started walking on the water and came toward Yahushua. But when he saw the strength of the wind, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, Master, save me. Immediately, Yahushua reacted, reached out his hand, caught hold of him and said to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got back in the boat, the storm subsided. Let's read it in the Hebrew, the true Hebrew text now. That was Greek. Let's read it from the cepher in the true Hebrew text. This is what it originally says. Let me find it. And straightway Yahusha constrained his Talmudim, his taught ones, the apostles, to get into a ship and to go before him to the other side. And while he sent the multitudes away, and when he sent the multitudes away, he went up into this mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, there are 4 watches. Yahusha, this is dawn, went out unto them, walking on the sea. And when the Talmudim saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a ruach, a spirit." And they cried out with fear. But straightway Yahusha spoke unto them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid." And Kepha answered him and said, "Master, if it be you, bid me come unto you unto the water." And he said, "Come." And when Kepha has come down out of the ship, he walked on the water, and he walked to Yahusha. But when he saw the wind boisterous, that's crazy, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried, saying, "Master, save me." And immediately Yahusha stretched forth his hand, his right hand, because he is the right hand, and caught him. And he said unto him, "O you of little faith, wherefore did you doubt?" Why did you doubt? And when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. And they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, "Of a truth, you are the Son of Elohim, Son of the Most High, the only Most High." And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Kinneroth. And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all the country around about, and brought him in unto him all that were diseased, and besought him that they might only teach the tzitzith of his garment, the tzitzith of his garment. That's the strings. See, these are mine. Okay, the tassels, tzitzits. These are our commandments. This is what we look at these are like little mommies walking around smacking us in the face. That's what Rob Skiba would say. And as many would have touched them, the tzitzits, they were made perfectly whole. And so, for 13 years, my family has been through horrible loss. My husband became ill. He has no immune system. He has common variable immune deficiency disorder. He was born with it. He was born without an immune system. And so when someone with a cold coughs on him, he gets pneumonia. When someone's walking around with pneumonia, he gets pleural pneumonia too. Both of his lungs, all of his lungs. When you put him in a house that has toxic mold, he slowly dies. And that is what has happened for 13 years. In the middle of Sukkot last year, our amazing naturopathic holistic doctor called us, and she said, I need to talk to you. And I said, okay. She said, your blood work. And we all followed along. We printed out the pages so we could follow along with her. She said, your blood shows a toxic mold poisoning. And the numbers are off the chart. She said she saw way worse, but his is pretty bad. And I said, well, why aren't we sick? She's like, well, he has the autoimmune disease. Okay. I said, could this be why I've been so sick with inflammation in my past and had a total proctocolectomy? That's your entire colon being removed. Yeah. For 7 years, I was not good. She's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I was affected. During my walk in finding YAHUAH, I was saying Jesus, I was saying God, I was saying Lord. I wanted more. Because on the surface, Christianity's surface, there's no deep anything. We're leaning on someone else's books. We're leaning on somebody else's thoughts. We're leaning on somebody else's sermons. It's constantly somebody else's. It's never yours. It's never yours. Okay. So I went on this adventure of a lifetime. Changed my world, rocked my world in a good way. 6 months I fasted 1 meal. I was completely healed of Crohn's, which is inflammation, of mental, physical, spiritual diseases. All my medicine I didn't have to take anymore. I threw it all out. I wasn't taking anything for depression, anxiety. I even stopped smoking pot. I was a complete addict smoking pot. People are like, oh, come on, Tammy. What they press now, what they give now, that stuff is not the real deal. It's not the old stuff that used to grow by the railroad tracks. I mean, this is messed with, okay? This is GMO pot, all right? If you want to put it like that. It is aimed to be stronger. That's why they call it sativa. It is hardcore. And so I got lost in it. But YAHUAH delivered me from that. I never was an alcoholic. I never drank. When I did, I didn't like it. I could control myself better with pot, or I thought I did. I was a mess. He turned a mess into beauty. He turned a liar, a harlot, a stealer, a druggard, depressed, anxiety-filled, crazy, loud-mouthed, speaking, yelling all the time, crazy woman into a passionate, humbled, meek, mild, beautiful daughter of the Most High. YAHUAH, that's mighty one. YAHUAH Sevaoth, my fighter. He goes before us. My husband started to think, well, maybe I'm not for him because he hasn't healed me. Does he have to heal you for you to love him? Ask yourself that. Are you waiting for him to do something for you to step out in faith? It's the other way around. Oftentimes we don't see it like that. We're so selfish that we can't see that he said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. What are his commandments? They're summed up with love one another. Love YAHUAH and love your neighbor as yourself. Those two things sum it up. Love. How do you love your Most High Elohim, the Most High Mighty One of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? How do you love him? Well, you keep the first 5 commands. And how do you love your neighbor? Well, you keep the next 5 commands. Those 2 things, sum it up. If you're doing those 2 things, you're already keeping the commands. You're already resting on that 7th day. Are you resting on the 7th day? Or are you resting on the first day? Answer yourself that question. That's real. Because that is the mark of his people. And I know that he's carrying us, and I know that he has covered us. You know how I know this? Because he revealed what has been killing my husband for 13 years, 16 if you want to get technical. 16 years of his life has been taken from us. 8 years of my life was taken from my children because I was so ill and needed that crazy surgery that led into more surgeries. He told me he was going to restore the years the locust ate, that he loved us, that John, my husband, would have life. Well, 2 days ago, we found out that our insurance company won't cover it. Even though we have mold protection and water protection, they refuse to cover it. I still praised in the storm. I sang that song that I put up here by Exodus Road Band. Hallelujah. I'm walking in the storm and I'm praising him because I believe. Do you believe? Do you believe even though you can't see it yet? That's what Abraham did. And if we're seed of Abraham, you will do as he did. And he was mighty. And from him came mighty men. Now, we waited a few days. Sorry, I'm crying. We waited a few days, hearing nothing. And we get a phone call from a woman. Her name is Erin, Erin, from the insurance company. An hour and 15 minutes on the phone with her. Her heart was pricked to call us, so she did. Comes to find out, she is a believer in the Most High YAHUAH. She says those names. She is in the believer of the Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. She keeps his feasts. She keeps Sabbath day. She has walked away from Christianity, sun worship, awful lawlessness, and the J-Man. Woo! Talk about my Alua, your Alua, Yahuwah. He is alive and he's working. He planted this woman and made her call us, which then she gave us the information that helped us today. Never get, this is a warning to anyone that's thinking about putting solar panels on their house. Don't do it. Unless you can afford them outright. They're 50 grand. Unless you can afford them outright and with a backup battery, don't do it. It's a scam. They put, through a really good friend of ours, can't trust anyone unless they walk in the Most High. And this is proof. This is a longtime friend of my husband. Convinced us to get these things. Convinced us it would help us. Okay? Well, they ruined our roof. We have $50,000 worth of damage. We have mold damage, toxic mold that is making my husband sick and my daughter sick. It's keeping us ill. I'm feeling these side effects. Talking to the solar company today, they are going to pay for everything. Everything. They are going to replace everything, pay for the complete mold remediation, everything that they have to do. Anything that was ruined, my entire roof is gone. And anybody that knows contracting, that's a lot of money. And not just my roof, my entire attic and the bedrooms on the second floor are ruined. From these things going up on my roof, And I don't have money. I take care of my husband who is disabled. But Yahuwah went and he fought for us. He went before us. Fire from the Shamayim, that means heaven, had come down and moved hearts and moved legs in order and gave people the right mind on how to walk and do in due time. We are going to have a new roof. Our entire attic is going to be redone. It's going to be remitigated. The wood and everything is going to be replaced. My daughter's rooms are going to be cleaned and replaced. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. He is good. He is so good. And sometimes these storms is what's beating out the rest of the ugly that needs to come out. Through this storm, I see my husband walking in Yahuwah, praying more, reading these words more, seeking him more, leading our family, and praising him every minute. It's like, I'm in the background like, for anyone who has a spouse that doesn't believe, for anyone who has a spouse that is yelling at you, that is making your life hard, keep praying. Drop to your knees and pray without ceasing. Second Thessalonians. Pray without ceasing, my beloved. Yahusha gave us the keys on how to walk and how to talk and how to be. Some of us are locked in a cage with the door open and the key sticking out of the keyhole. But the door is open and we're hopeless. You're not hopeless. Get up. Walk out of that cage. Grab that key. Stand tall and call down the fire from heaven to your mighty Yahuwah and have him go before you. You are a warrior. I know I'm a warrior. Sorry, I had a phone call come in. I'll call them back. I know that I'm a warrior. Y'all, I've seen it in visions. I am prepared to do what I got to do. If I got to be like David and Goliath, I will do that. If I got to drop to my knees and fight the unseen world with the word as the word is the light under your feet. It's your Torah. Those commandments, Yahusha used every single one of those commands against Satan when he was up on that mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Come on. That is how we fought him. That is your armor. We only can get to the Father through the Son. But there's so much more you got to do. Faith without works is dead. You are not saved by works alone. But you got to get up. Faith is a verb. That is an action word. You got to move. So many people, they pray, they're like, I will do this when you do this. I will do this when I see you come. I will do this when you send me an angel. Do you know angel isn't even a thing? It's a messenger. He sends his people, us, to you, to tell you, to talk to you, and he can also speak to you. He can speak to you in visions and dreams. Heck yeah. It's a ruach, man. It's a spirit of the Most High fire that can engulf you. 87 times. Thank you, Sister Maxie in Kansas. I love her. 87 times. Keeping the Sabbath was mentioned in the book of Acts. Ain't nobody gonna tell me that the Sabbath isn't important. Or eating clean isn't important. Oh, these things are not important, Tammy. You're losing the sight of things. We were set free. You are out of your living mind. Out of your living mind. And that is dangerous. You are going to meet the Most High, and you are going to have a door closed in your face. Wake up. Because you know what he said, not one jot, not one tittle will be removed from the Torah, not from the letters that came way after. That is the Torah and the prophets rewritten. That's all the Brit Hadashah is. People don't even realize that if they don't open their Torah, if they don't open Genesis through Deuteronomy, he said not one dot, not one tittle will be removed until all is complete. Heaven and earth will die away, will fade off. And even then the word will remain. Well, last time I checked, heaven and earth has not ripped open and been renewed. Hello? And we are supposed to we are priests and kings here right now by the order of Melchizedek. That is that order. We stand in our Rabbi, Yahushua HaMashiach, Yeshua, Jesus. I don't like saying that word because that means earth pig. Wake up! Jesus means heck. I don't even need to tell you what that means. Zeus, it's like right there. Wake up. 500 years ago, they changed that name. They changed his name. Come on. I promised I wouldn't be one of those who attack the name, but man, it is important because from the beginning of the word to the end of the word, they stood on my name. In Revelations chapter 3, the church of Philadelphia, which is the only church that made it, which is the only church that had a door open for it. And you know what? They kept his name, the commandments, and the door was open for them and nobody would close it. See that nobody take your crown. That's what it says. There are 10 virgins. 5 of them were wise and the other 5 were not wise. They were all believers. They all fell asleep, but 5 of them took extra oil. While the other 5 was like, give us your extra oil so we could go with you, because the Messiah had come back with his mighty shofar, and they went out to meet him, and he was like, they had to go get their extra oil, so they went and they bought the Torah. That's what that is. This is so serious. It's so serious. It is the great falling away happened when the Roman Papists took over and started changing everything around. That's Daniel's 4th beast. The harlot that sits in the seas of many waters, Revelations. If you got a pastor out there, first of all, you shouldn't be going by any pastor. No, stop it. You have a rabbi. It's Yahushua HaMashiach, Yeshua, Jesus, Yahushua, whatever you're calling him. You don't need man to teach you. Come on. We are given the most beautiful gift, and that is the spirit of truth given to us. It's a very serious conversation I'm having right now. A lot of people think that they have their house built on the rock, and they don't. And as we get closer and closer and closer, there's a lot of people saying, rapture, rapture. Rapture is not even a thing, y'all. Search for it. You won't find it. The word that Paul used is rapturo. That's caught up, and it's only for a little while, because guess what? The kingdom comes down. You don't even leave earth. No. Earth is renewed. Until everything is renewed, that's what he said. Heaven and earth will pass away. This word will still stand. Kingdom comes down. And you're either in the door or outside the door. It's not even funny. For those who think that they're on the right path, and they are on the broad path. They're not even on a narrow path, not even close. It's time to wake up, sleeper. Because we are in trib. We're already in the trib. You can't see that? Huh. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And then our Messiah is going to come back, but he's going to come back when you don't even know it. Sometimes in the middle of the night. Sometime in the middle of the night. And you're going to be like, ah, and he's going to close that door. Don't believe the movies Kirk Cameron gives you, Left Behind. Come on. Don't listen to them. They have a theology that is full of lies. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. They are. They speak lies on their lips. Their lips speak they love him, but their heart is far from him. They have gotten rid of the commandments completely. They serve the lawless whore that sits on many waters called the Roman Catholic Church, which all people took a sip of her wine and fornicated with her. Now they sun worship on the first day, and they serve a lawless Jesus, whom they call God, and now sits on the throne of your head, and your right hand serves that. Are you going to do that? Are you going to be left with the door slamming in your face? It's time to wake up. Lean on the Son that makes the way to the Father. Even the Son said, do not worship me, worship the Father. He kept saying over and over and over and over. Do we make void what he did? No, absolutely not. He is from the beginning. This is huge. There's going to be a sifting. Do you know the difference between a wheat and a tare? This is the parable of the wheat and tare. The wheats and the tares grow up together, and they grow up very tall, and they look identical. And the farmer doesn't know until the wind blows which one is the wheat, because when the wind blows, the wheat moves and follows the ruach, the spirit of truth. Everywhere it goes, it bends, it bows, it worships, it does whatever YAHUAH, the Most High, tells it to do. While the other one is like, I'm not bending, I'm not bowing, I'm not doing anything for you. I believe in your God, but I don't believe any word you say. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep my way because my pastor told me to. Because I read it in a book. And Joel Olston told me if I just keep giving money, I'm going to be okay. You know when they know when to pull this, when to pull the wheat, because they can't do it together. You cannot pull a wheat when it has a tare and they grow together. They grow up together. Okay? The farmer knows when it's fully grown and it's time for harvest. They separate the wheat from the tare. And the wheat gets put in the storeroom, protected, while the tare that wouldn't bend, that wouldn't bow, that wouldn't say, you know what, I'm not going to read my entire Bible from Genesis to Revelations. I'm not going to ask Yah or God to tell me anything because Joel Osteen said, and my pastor at the church said, and this person said, and that person said, and they have a theology, and they have a master's degree, and they have a doctor's degree, and they know what they're doing. They are liars. And they stole your soul. Are you going to take it back? Because when those angels come, when those messengers that you call angels come to separate the wheat, his believers who came out of her and made their robes clean and became virgins meaning no religion, repented, became a whole new person, mind, body, and soul, new, and have been put in the refiner's fire and refined, stored into that store barn, having a beautiful bridegroom wedding feast, banquet, with Yahushua HaMashiach, that door is going to close on the tear and they go into the fire. That is what that meant when Yahushua said that, when Jesus said that. Tammy, I don't like the way you're speaking right now. We are not trying to give you lip service. I am not here to please you. I bow down to the Most High Yahuwah. I bow down to the Yahuwah, to the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. That is how you say their real names. Is it important? Will it save you? No. Is it important to know your Maker's name? Yes. Absolutely. Because that is what's going across your forehead. They sing a new song. Better go read Revelations 14. Don't say, yeah. I have to go and, I got invited to go preach alongside a preacher. We are the church. If they're not preaching sound doctrine, what did Cephas say? What did Peter say? 2 Peter chapter 3, he gave out a warning. He told you, be careful of those teaching Paul's letters as lawlessness. Huh? Yeah, he said that. What are you going to do? Choose here now this day who you're going to serve. Study to show yourselves approved. These are scriptures. If you are called by his name and you keep his commands, you will be healed. And your whole heart will turn to him. He'll give you a heart of flesh. Remove the heart of stone. Who are you serving? Who are you serving? It is a serious talk. Are you keeping Christmas and Easter? Are you keeping Tammuz Day, Saturnalia Feast, and Ishtar? Or are you keeping Pesach, Passover? Because he's the Passover lamb. They ate the Passover lamb. Come on. Your word says Passover. Only the New King James Version says Easter because they changed it. I need you to pay attention to all of those who are sick and in need of the gospel, the good news. I don't like to use the word gospel. The word gospel is in it. Yuck. There is not much time, saints. Be set apart. That's what holy means. Not that you're acting holier than thou. No. My people die for a lack of knowledge. For real. They do. And because they rejected him, he will reject your children. Go read that in the prophets. If you think the prophets are gone, prophets are not gone. The prophets are not gone. They are still very much alive and being and coming to pass today. Hold on a minute. Hosea chapter 4. I'll read it out of the CSB because most Christians have CSB now. Hear the word of Yahuwah. Yours says Lord. Don't do it. People of Israel, your ears should perk up because once you become a believer in your Messiah, Yahushua, or even Jesus, you become believing Israel. Immediately, you're not a Gentile. Gentiles don't get in. The promise is for them, but once they start believing, they become grafted in, says Paul. Listen. For Yahuwah has a case against the inhabitants of the land. There is no truth, no faithful love, and no knowledge of Alhin, yours says God, in the land. Cursing, lying, murder, stealing, adultery, and are rampant. One act of bloodshed follows another. For this reason the land mourns, and everyone who lives, that word is evil, spelled backwards, in it, everyone who lives in it languishes, along with the wild animals and the birds of the sky. Even the fish of the sea disappear. But let no one dispute, let no one argue, for my case is against you, priests. You will stumble by day. The prophet will also stumble with you by night, and I will destroy your mother. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I will reject you from serving as my priests, since you have forgotten the law of Elohim, God. I will also forget your sons. The more they multiply, the more they sinned against me. I will change their honor into disgrace. They feed on sin of my people. They have an appetite for their iniquity. The same judgment will happen to both people and priests. I will punish them for their ways and repay them for their deeds. They will eat but not be satisfied. They will be promiscuous but not multiply, for they have abandoned their devotion of YAHUAH. Promiscuity, wine, and new wine take away one's understanding. My people consult their wooden idols. How many people have a cross? How many people have a fish? Come on. And their divining rods inform them. For a spirit of promiscuity leads them astray. They ask promiscuously in disobedience to their Alhim. They sacrifice on mountaintops. They burn offerings on hills and under oaks, poplars, and terebinths, because their shade is pleasant. And so your daughters act promiscuously, and your daughter-in-law commits adultery. Is this America? Is this our pastors behind the popes? Behind the popes, behind the pulpits telling you can do whatever you want. Once saved, always saved. That is a lie, and you're going to go to hell for that? Woo-hoo. Listen. I will not punish your daughters when they act promiscuously, or your daughter-in-law when they commit adultery. For the men themselves go off with prostitutes and make sacrifice with cult prostitutes. People without discernment are doomed. You know what the discernment is? The Ruach HaKodesh. The Spirit of the Most High. Once you believe with all your heart and you turn from your wicked, evil ways and you allow Him to remove all that, you then get wisdom. And she embraces you. She tests you. She tempts you to make sure that you're going to keep the ways of Yahuwah. And then you get the Ruach HaKodesh. That's truth. People without discernment are doomed. You know, when Yahuwah speaks in these Old Testament prophets, He is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and once was, will be again. I mean, this is a for real talk. You know what's even worse? People are still being led by man. People are still being led away by fancy suits and Kundalini Christian music hitting your chakra. That's a true story. This may really upset anyone who doesn't know the truth. And I'm really not trying to upset anyone. I'm trying to tell you that it's time to wake up. And the 5 unwise virgins cried out, I prophesied in your name, I healed the sick in your name, I cast out demons in your name. I've done these things in your name. And he says, go away, I don't know you, you worker of lawlessness. Go read it, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Go read it. That's the parable of the 10 virgins. I mean, I don't know what's scarier. There isn't anything that scares me more than that verse. Go away. I don't know you, but they knew him. They thought they knew him. They thought they were walking in him. They thought they were all virgins, which means they all believed. But there was 5 wise and 5 unwise. You can call me a religion. You can call me, I'm this, I'm that. I'm trying to act Jewish. I'm trying to be Jewish. Are you kidding me? The only people you can call Jewish, the only tribe you can call Jewish is the tribe of Judah. That's it. The rest of them are Israelites. They're not even Israelites, because Israelites are those who believe, and they are the promised seed. There's so much you got to wake up out and get out of. This is real talk. Tomorrow is Sabbath. Some people celebrate Sabbath on on Wednesdays. I'm looking into that. I look into everything. I test everything. I do. And my beloved brother who sent me the Kodesh word that is all about the light, because we are children of light. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna check it out, because we are to study to show ourselves approved. The Bereans in the book of Acts were given the Mashiach and his coming. And what did they do? They went through all the scriptures and they diligently studied, and they realized Yahushua is the Mashiach. Wow. And they believed, but they studied to show themselves approved first. That's in the book of Acts, the Bereans. Be a good Berean. Don't be one that follows. Be one that don't go don't go the same way that everybody else is going. Go this way. Go this way. Take the red pill. Wake up. How about that? Red pill yourself. For real. I gotta go. I gotta finish doing my thing. But you are loved. Shabbat shalom. Go in shalom. May Yahuah baruch you and keep you and guide you and bless you. That's what baruch is. Continually through the Hamashiach Yahusha. Let us all be Amunah. Let us all be Ahava Mishpaka. I love you all with all my heart. Shalom.